Hello, it is time once again for another session of investment education, stock analysis of equities that are listed on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and of course, sharing of other breaking information within the Nigerian equity market. Abayomi Obabolujo is my name, and I welcome you to this platform, Stocks TV Nigeria. Today, on this platform, we're going to be looking at the performances of equities that are listed on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange for Wednesday, the 24th day of August 2016. And of course, it is no longer news as far as the Nigerian capital market is concerned that 7 out of the 9 suspended financial institutions from forex trading by the Central Bank of Nigeria are listed on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. If I can remember them offhand, they include First Bank, which is the bigger brother of the FBNH group, and of course Diamond Bank, Fidelity, Skybank, Sterling Bank, and Diamond Bank, and of course FCMB. These 7 financial institutions are listed and they play actively on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So we're going to be looking at how much each and every one of them is still holding according to the records of the Central Bank of Nigeria of NNPC funds with them. And this amount is to be remitted. I don't know whether the CBN will just deduct at source. We do not know what other fines will come subsequently, but we're going to be looking at what this amount for each of the financial institutions look like and what it pertains if the CBN should insist that it intends to remove or to that all the amount be transferred back to the TSA immediately. What it pertains for each and every one of the financial institutions involved, and again the suspension from forex trading for the meantime. This and a few others we shall be looking at in the next 25 minutes or thereabout on this platform for today. We cannot afford not to be part of this discussion. Meanwhile, if you like what we do, please like it and subscribe to this channel. And of course, if you feel very strongly that there are so many things we still need to adjust, we can never come to perfection immediately, right? Dislike it. The more I see dislike, then the more I know that we still have a long way to go. Welcome back. Like I did say, what we're going to be doing basically is to look at those financial institutions that the CBN has just announced suspended from interbank forex market, and what that pertains for the investors in those financial institutions. I want us first to consider, one, the ability of these institutions to cope with such shock, and then what it pertains to you. I'm not so much concerned about Heritage and Keystone banks because they are not listed. At least you and I are not shareholders in those companies, in those banks. But you see, particularly me, I don't just talk about stocks. I invest actively in the stock market. As a matter of fact, I learn because I'm involved. And so if anyone had ever lost money in the stock market, particularly in the Nigerian market, I'm one of them. If anyone also had ever made money substantially in the Nigerian equity market. I have. I'm one of them. And after about 25, 26 years of sojourn in the Nigerian market, I think I'm sufficiently equipped to talk about the market. And I'm concerned simply because if you look at most of the equities here that I'm going to be talking about, I'm also an investor in them. Of course, you cannot be in this market, for example, for 10, 15 years, and you are not an investor in First Bank, which is now FBNH, right? Because that was the toast of the market back in days, irrespective of whatever is happening now. Things do change, and we have seen that so well in this market. So I'm an investor in FBNH. I'm an investor in UBA. Just a little, not so much in Diamond. I'm not an investor in Sterling. I'm not an investor in Sky, FCMB, and Fidelity, yes. And so I'm concerned. And that's why I'm not coming hard. I'm not going to be hard on these companies. Number one, from personal information, I've tried to speak with 1 or 2 or 3 people within these financial institutions. Of course, 1 or 2 of them did not even bother to pick calls, so they're not ready to talk as yet. But for those that I spoke with, as far as they are concerned, there's nothing new. There's nothing that is new or news in all this, because it's not a situation where they, in the real sense of it, concealed this information. And I want to believe that they are saying the truth. Why? For all of them, and I mean all of them, right, as we speak, had reported their audited account for 2015. And of course, it's the CBN saying that in those audited accounts, this information is not found there. So why is it that it is just now that CBN is discovering this? That is on one side. Now, for FBA and UBA, and of course Skybank, 2015, I think it was around October 15 or thereabout, because I knew that I carried the information back then on our website. They were penalized by the CBN for the same purpose. Was it that this set of accounts we're talking about now weren't so much discovered back then by the Central Bank of Nigeria? So you penalized UBA, penalized Skybank, penalized a few other financial institutions in October before the audit report for 2015. Are coming back again almost 1 year to say you just discovered some set of accounts. From what I've discovered, the organizations involved, the financial institutions involved, and the management of the central bank have been meeting. They've been talking about this. They knew about it before now. And for some of them, their actual amount that they were holding on behalf of NNPC was far more than how much we're talking about here, but this amount has been remitted, maybe gradually over time. So what is the big deal there? And I think our regulators should try as much as possible to do what it should do, knowing fully well that some of us had staked our entire life in some of these financial institutions as their shareholders, and whatsoever happened to them to the contrary, for goodness sake, we will be the net loser, not the regulator. We should, as shareholders, prevail on some of them, right? So now, what are we looking at here? I just have decided, of course, it's no longer news. It is all over the places. So what I've just tried to do was to look at the entire turnover of some of these financial institutions for their second quarter report, and then the kind of amount that will have to be deducted from the coffers of these financial institutions. Now, definitely is going to affect all of them. But yes, it is true that one has, or others do have capacity more than another set of the organizations involved. It's like in my village, it is commonly said, let the guy walk and at the same time be urinating, and then let the women also walk and at the same time be urinating, and let us see whose heel at the end of the day will be wet. That's a common saying in my village, right? So we know that yes, the capacity of these financial institutions to cope with this kind of situation is not the same. However, no matter how strong you are as a financial institution, if 100 billion is going to be taken off you at any point in time, you cannot tell me it's not going to affect you in any way. All right? So what are we talking about now? So what I've decided to do is to calculate the amount involved at 320 naira per dollar, and that is the painful thing here. The issue is more than what we are thinking, because as at the time these funds were deposited with these financial institutions, what are we talking about here? It is very doubtful if a dollar exchanges for more than 200 naira. And now they have to pay back maybe at 320 naira. For goodness sake. It's a huge loss to these financial institutions. That is the truth. So people keep saying this, people keep saying that. It's not easy like that to just say all these financial institutions, take the money out. Yes, some other financial institutions might do that. Maybe if these financial institutions had done that too, as at that last year, September, when the order came from the central bank, in response to the desire of the new government, maybe the crisis would have been a lot better handled than what they will be facing now. Because as at today, what First Bank would need to cough out is 150 billion, 80 million naira. The entire turnover of FBNH, not just First Bank now, for the second quarter 2016 was 267.9 billion naira. For UBA, we are yet to see the second quarter report, right? But 169.6 billion is how much UBA will have to cough out. Yes, it's a deposit with them, but that's how much they will have to refund back. Right? It's not as if it's a loss. It's going to be a loss, because maybe what we will do next is to calculate how much most probably these financial institutions would have collected these funds and how much they will be paying back now, considering the current dollar to Nigeria exchange. And the truth of the matter is that where would they even get the dollar? Where is the dollar to even pay back? And if the central bank is saying that they should pay back in naira time, it's going to be tough on this financial institution. So for Diamond, the entire interest, and special and other income for the second quarter was 67.7 billion. Now they will be needing to cough out 91.8 billion naira. For Fidelity, they're looking at 66.8 billion naira, whereas the entire second quarter was 70 billion, right? So for FCMB, 53.9 billion was the turnover for the second quarter. Now we're looking at 40 billion to be returned. I think that's still manageable in a way, because it's small, relatively. Sterling, 50 billion naira was the entire turnover for the second quarter 2016. Now 86 billion naira is how much that the federal government funds, that is in their kitty. So what this means is that the amount that these financial institutions have to trade definitely is going to decline very drastically, right? We are not seeing the second quarter report of UBA, but we know if we project the performances of First Bank, this is just FBN, right? FBNH projected, okay, the turnover I quoted actually was for FBNH, which comprises that of the entire group. But the 150 billion is just for the bank. Of course, the bank should be about 80% or if not more of the entire FBNH group. So what I'm now saying is like, what banks do is to trade with money. Basically, that is what banks do. So now, when they have 150 billion and the federal government is saying that, return our money back, so it will definitely affect the liquidity of these financial institutions. That is the reality. Because the amount is huge. And again, the loss is also huge. Why? Because they will be paying back. Even if they are going to buy the dollar, they're going to buy at the very rate, right? That is one end of the entire scenario. The other end of it is the fact that they've been suspended from forex trading. And if you take the time to study the accounts of these financial institutions, virtually all of them were able to boost their performances with special income from such trades. Because again, Nigerian banks will have to make 100% loan loss provision for facilities granted, credit granted, and that's not so much performing, which is also huge, all of them. Okay, now at this level, it could be for 1 day, it could be for 2 weeks, it could be for only God knows how long. Yes, as at the time of this presentation, what we heard is that meetings are ongoing between the top management of these financial institutions and the top management of the Central Bank of Nigeria. How it's going to end, nobody knows as yet. That is on one side. And then when the suspension will eventually be lifted, nobody also knows. But 1, 2, 3 days of no money coming in from such trades can amount to a lot of ungenerated income, because within this period they will still have to continue to spend on all those. That is another end. The last end is that at the end of the day, we do not know what further fines that the CBN will come and place on these financial institutions. Because yes, we know as at October of last year, it was huge. UBA and all the rest of them. It was huge. First Bank, UBA, and I can remember very well Skybank too. The amount that was fine. So what fine that the CBN is still imposing on these financial institutions, we do not know. At the end of this day, at the end of the day, the shareholders will be the net loser. All right? So what does this portend? We are already, today is 24th day of August. So in a few days, the month of August will be over, and then we'll enter into September. So September is the end of this quarter. So the impact of all that is happening now to First Bank is going to be reflected in the third quarter earnings of FBNH. The same thing in UBA, Diamond, Fidelity, FCMB, Sterling, and Sky. All right? So that basically, having said that, we need to now begin to focus our attentions on what the CBN says, how the CBN eventually decides to handle the situation. But we pray and we plead on the CBN that they need to consider as necessity the position of existing shareholders in this organization, because if any action is taken against these financial institutions that are not complementary, Nigerian shareholders will be the net loser. Yes, we keep blaming management and board and whatever. Yes, we'll continue to blame them. But the truth of the matter also is that I am very sure that if the management of these financial institutions will know that there is a day that the federal government will begin to call for the accounts of those corporations, they will not bother to even take those accounts in the first instance. So this is when you cannot operate well in a country where the government is not even stable in the way that they impose policies, they formulate policies and carry it out almost immediately. That is the way I've seen this. I mean, our government has done, has always done, really, and I don't think it's in the best interest of business people in this country. As at the time these funds were being collected, government policy was in favor, so the financial institutions really have not done anything wrong. And suddenly a government came and they have to make available these funds. It can kill businesses. These financial institutions, as we blame them, they are nothing more than money managers. Also, if everybody takes their money away from them, what happens there? And in our economy as today, government is the biggest spender. So what are we talking about? We shouldn't treat them as if they should die. Because if they die, some individuals will definitely die with these financial institutions. I know people that have collected their pensions and everything. They are in this financial institution. So what are we talking about here? All right? We keep our fingers crossed and we continue to monitor unfolding events. And whatever the outcome may be, we believe we'll still survive. All right? Having said that, where I will be starting the market activity, review of market activity for Wednesday, the 24th day of August 2016, is the losers and why. I want to do that to see the performances on Wednesday of those equities, those 7 of them. And if you look at the losers table for Wednesday, the 24th day of August 2016, virtually all those companies, all those bank stocks were there. Diamond Bank lost 8.94%. Diamond Bank now selling at 112 kobo. FCMB lost 5%. It is selling at 114 kobo. Sterling Bank, of course, Sterling Bank has been dropping even before now, but I think it was trying to stage a comeback. Sterling Bank lost 2.91%, right? Then UBA lost 1.55%. Ideally, UBA shouldn't be losing because the market is awaiting its second quarter report. But this new news would definitely wipe off every form of expectation in the price in UBA as we speak now. And nobody as of now knows what the shape of the second quarter report of UBA might be. As a matter of fact, there is even every possibility that the CBN might delay the approval of UBA's second quarter report. We keep our fingers crossed and see what will happen. I've tried as much as possible to speak with the corporate communications manager of UBA. I guess we were busy. None of them have been able to say anything. Thank you to me for the better part of the day. So for Skybank, of course, and I know the situation of Skybank, of all of them, the one that I will definitely tell you doesn't have problems is really Skybank, because as we speak, Skybank has become government bank. It's a peculiar financial institution. So if I were the managing director of Skybank, I would just go to bed and sleep. Of course, they were appointed, the top executives of the bank, as we speak, were appointed by the central bank. So what are we saying? And they weren't there as at the time all these transactions were entered into. So the CBN knows what to do to pay Skybank out. Apparently, they might probably make money. They gave them 100 billion naira the other day. So are we now saying that they want to, how much are we talking about here? All right, from Skybank. So that is not a big deal. Skybank is in a peculiar situation. Then of the 7 financial institutions, Fidelity, right, lost 0.99% and FBNH lost 0.32%. I think the case with FBNH is that that is down means fair no fall. So the prices are already down, two down, two low. I believe that if the central bank decides to space the remittance, these financial institutions should be able to overcome it, give them a lot of time, all right, to remit these funds. They will eventually remit it. But if you want to take everything all at once, you are not being mindful of what the possibilities are, all right, to the shareholders. At the end of the day, we might not get any dividend from these financial institutions in the accounts because at the end of the day, because things will be definitely tough. There will be liquidity challenge. They will survive, but it's going to be relatively tough. So, in other words, all of them, Diamond, FCMB, and then Sterling, UBA, Sky, Fidelity, and LBNH. So the Nigerian market is very responsive. So anybody that says the market is not responsive, the person is not following the market. So the market is very responsive. However, looking at the gainer start for the day, it was also some banks that I saw there. I think there is a mixture in the data here. Anyway, we continue as they are. The All-Share Index of the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed positive. It was 0.25%. And then market capitalization also, as usual, closed in the same direction as the All-Share Index. It closed at 0.25% higher than the performances of Tuesday. Deals were down. For the last, I think this should make it like 7th trading session that deals have been done. That actually is a sign of weakness. For Wednesday, volume increased by 26.36%, while value increased very marginally, 0.73%. We just simply look at volume driver for the day, and then we round off. Then we expect to meet again by the grace of God on Thursday, and we'll be taking off from where we're going to hang it today. So, deals guarantee-led. Guarantee has been the post of the market, right? And we're seeing it on the radio, and I think we also took time to talk about it in the previous presentation here. The guarantee actually made the reason as to why the price is sustained is because of the market perception of the possibilities with guarantee when it comes to forex, foreign exchange earnings, right? So it remains upbeat, and for Wednesday in volume guarantee led, and also in value. As a matter of fact, the amount invested in guarantee alone was about 1/3 of the entire performances of the market. FBNH also performed well in deals. In volume, Zenith was second. And of course, Nigerian Breweries was the second best in value. And if you look at the amount invested in the stocks of guarantee, Nigerian Breweries and Zenith, not even adding Nestle, that is already close to or slightly above 2 billion naira on just 3 equities. So they continue to dominate. All right? So we've got to go for now. As usual, I want to say very big thank you to you. But what I will advise all investors is that, yes, the news is not very, doesn't make one happy. It's very saddening, really. But I don't think we should panic. I think we should just keep faith with these financial institutions. I think we should not rush to sell. That is the truth. Because again, when we talk about declining equity prices, okay, when you talk about declining equity prices, it is simply because you are not able to sell and nobody is buying. That's why the price of equity is declining. All right? So if you and I decide that, okay, we don't want to sell First Bank again, irrespective of what happens to it at 3 naira or thereabout, the price will remain firm, and from there begins to rise. If we decide that, okay, we want to stay and want to believe that yes, some of these financial institutions might not even have done the best. If you want to remain there, the prices will remain fair. And from there, we give them the opportunity to recover and the prices begin to rise again. But if we panic for whatever reason and send the stocks or the order to our stockbrokers sell, and we begin to sell up, what are we going to say? The price of these equities will crash. Who will be the next sufferer? Not the regulators. Neither the regulators of the stock exchange, nor the regulator of the securities and not definitely the regulators of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Not those guys. We, you, me, shareholders, that will survive. So we should look at this news, just remind what the CBN is going to do, from a positive end, not from a terrible mindset against these financial institutions. I believe if we do that, at the end of the day, the market will remain stable. These financial institutions will recover and will be the net beneficiary. Thank you, and I believe we will do that. All right? If we do that, God bless you. Thank you so much for staying tuned for today. By the grace of God, we'll be bringing another package for you on Thursday. But don't forget that I have 1 hour between 7 and 8 a.m. Nigerian time, if you are in Nigeria, 7 and 8 a.m. on Talkswatch FM Nigeria. I'll still be looking at this, it will have a longer period. And of course, a repeat broadcast of that will be coming later on Thursday between 10:30 and 11:30. Right, how to get connected to Talkswatch FM Nigeria is by going on iOS Store. If you use iPad or some other Apple products, then you search Talkswatch, that S, the middle is very important, Talkswatch FM Nigeria. Then you can download our app for our live radio broadcast. And if you are using Android gadgets, you can go to Play Store and then the same Talkswatch FM Nigeria. You download our radio app and you can go on our website, stocksng.com, STOCKS NigeriaNG.com. Of course, a copy of this presentation is also available there. We have the podcast there, and you can connect to our live presentation on radio and a lot of other information that will guide you. Abayomi Babalodo is my name. I like talking about stocks. It's part of me already. I'll be with you the same time, the same day, the same platform on Thursday. All right? Thank you for staying on until we meet again. God bless you.